Welcome everyone to week 4 of this 4-week bootcamp. We made it. We made it to week 4, and I am so honored to have shared this 4 weeks with you. And today's topic, or this week's topic, is the lifestyle. Chop wood and carry water. If you know me, you know that I use this quote quite a bit that says, before enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. And after enlightenment, you chop wood and carry water. And what I like about this statement is that sometimes in this path or in this journey of personal development, spiritual development, we think there is an end to it. And once we are enlightened, once we heal our wounds, once we do this, then that's it. And the reality is that this is a constant journey. It doesn't end. We're eternal beings having a human experience. So who knows what happens after we leave this plane. But I love the fact that this is inviting us to keep doing the work and enjoy it, Before enlightenment, you chop wood, you carry water, and after enlightenment, you chop wood and carry water, because chopping wood and carry water could be one of the most beautiful things we can do to enjoy, to navigate this plane of existence here in this third dimension with grace and ease and beauty and light. So that's what we're going to be talking about today: how to create a lifestyle that you are in love with. And as I've told you before, I am here to learn and to share with you some of these concepts. But what I have seen in my life is that even though there's still so much more to do, so much more to learn, so much more healing and growth to be done within myself, I've been doing this long enough to see the results, the fruits of showing up every day and having this as a lifestyle. Not only I went to a seminar, I took an online course, and that's it. No, to plant the seed by doing it first, and then to cultivate it, to put water and sun and create the environment for that seed to give fruit, to give you the pleasure of having a beautiful lifestyle. So my testimonial, my personal testimonial is that this works. And when you have a lifestyle that you are in love with, life is just so much fun. And I want that for all of us. For me to keep doing it, and for you, if you haven't done it yet, to start doing it. Okay, so let's begin with this week. So suggestions: be open to everything and attached to nothing. As I have said in every week, disconnect to connect. Disconnect from everything if you can, and if at any given moment you get distracted, pause the video and then resume when you're not going to be distracted. Grab a journal and a pen. Progress, not perfection. Pause and breathe whenever you need. I'm going to be reminding myself to do this as well so that we both can do it together. And action, action, action. Take action, because knowing without doing is like not really knowing. So in this week 4, we're going to be talking about 4 powerful tools to create a lifestyle of fulfillment, health, of abundance. These 4 tools, one of them is the power of ritual, of habits. The 3 energetic boundary methods. Lately, I found this amazing book and found 3 methods to do energetic boundaries, and I've been enjoying practicing myself, and I want to share with you. So this is pretty fresh for me, so I'm so glad that I get to teach you this new thing that I just learned. We're going to talk about how time is gold, and not to waste it. Different perspective of mistakes, which I mentioned in last week's call. We're going to do some forgiveness practice. We're going to talk about congruency and present moment awareness. So I hope you are ready. And before we dive into the teachings today, I want you to close your eyes with me and take a deep breath in your nose and exhale out the mouth. Let's do it 3 times together. Breathe in and let go now. Breathe in, connect to the present moment. Breathe out, let go was no longer serving you. Last time, breathe in love. And exhale. And in gratitude and present moment awareness, we begin this class, so you can open your eyes. And let's begin. So this is one of, I have many favorite quotes, but this is one of my favorite. It says, there's no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. Thich Nhat Hanh. So there is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. We are so caught up with the outcome, with the final result. And yes, it's beautiful to attain your goals, to do it, to make it happen. But when we don't know that the journey is more important than the outcome, we tend to be always grasping and trying to hold on and trying to predict, and the anxiety of the future can be pretty overwhelming. So when we make happiness the way, when we make the journey, every step of the way, where you are in this moment, a good moment, a moment that is a good moment to heal, to transform, to enjoy, to laugh, to hug, to kiss. When we make the present moment the way, you get to your desired outcome a lot faster. And when you get to the desired outcome, what the natural thing is just to keep wanting to keep growing and expanding. But so let's read it one more time. There's no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. And how to make happiness the way, Paola? It sounds really nice, but I don't know how. So we're going to be talking about a lot of hows. And remember, my hows are my suggestions to you. Take it with a grain of salt. Test it for yourself. See if it works. And if it works, great. If it doesn't work, put it aside. Maybe it will work in the next season of your life. Maybe it will work in a year from now. But today, only take what's relevant for you and what resonates with you. So today I'm going to be giving lots of suggestions on how. And then you apply whatever it is that you want to apply. Okay? Beautiful. Number 1, consistency and repetition. So I put a picture of a woman at the gym lifting weights. And here's the thing. Change will happen in your life. I guarantee you. Well, change is the only constant. Evolution, transformation, healing, all of that is happening as long as you stay consistent. What do I mean by that? All of these things that we've been learning for the last 4 weeks, they need your action in a consistent and repetitive way. It takes about 66 days, says the neuroscience, for you to create new neurological pathways, meaning it takes about 2 months for your brain to start rewiring. And then after that, you keep reinforcing by repetition and consistency until one day you have a different way of living. Until one day you're like, oh my God, I'm not reacting the way I used to react before. Oh my God, I can stop myself, reacting or responding, and I can observe my thoughts. That's never happened before. I tell you again, when this has happened to me, where I find myself in a new stage of my own evolution, I just say, oh my God, this thing of consistency and repetition works. And sometimes when you're doing it and you're like, oh man, this is not working, I don't want to do it anymore. In that moment when you're doubting is in the moment that you have to keep going. So I'm going to say it one more time as a little tip for you. The moment you want to quit, the moment you say this is not working, that is the moment where you have to keep going. Almost as if you had a personal trainer in the gym. I don't know if you ever had one. I've had one in the past. And the moment I was like, oh my God, I can't. They said 5 more. Do 5 more. Because they know as a personal trainer that is the last repetitions, the ones that are creating the strength, are not the first ones. So you have done this 4-week boot camp and you're like, okay, I like these concepts, and you kind of hear them, you kind of apply them. But if you quit doing them, it's just going to be nice information in your frontal cortex, and it's never going to travel to your subconscious mind. And if it doesn't travel to your subconscious mind, you're going to keep repeating the patterns that you're used to do. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So let's take a deep breath in and let go. Beautiful. Consistency and repetition is how you make the way to your outcome a beautiful journey. Okay? Gotta show up every day. Aristotle said, excellence is an art won by training and habituation. We do not act rightly because we have virtue or excellence, but we rather have those because we have acted rightly. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. I just think it's a brilliant thing that Aristotle said thousands of years ago when he was alive. Excellence is not an act, but a habit. Excellence is an art won by training and habituation. We do not act rightly because we have virtue or excellence, but we rather have those because we have acted rightly. Do right, be right. So it is require your constant action until it becomes your personality, until it becomes your neurological wiring. This is how powerful it needs to be to all of this really work. Because I know it could be very frustrating to take a class like this, to read a book, to do a retreat, and then about a month later you say, oh my God, I felt so good a month ago. Now it's all gone. I know how frustrated it's happened to me. And in a moment, I'm going to talk about how that is also part of your journey. So not to shame ourselves. In other words, successful people are just people with successful habits or rituals. So what I'm inviting us to do is to have a ritual or habits that are constantly charging our resilience. Remember when I talked about resilience of your heart? You have so much power in your heart, much more powerful than your brain. But if your heart, this beautiful entity, spirit, organ too, this thing that beats 100,000 times a day for you and you don't have to do anything about that. If this part is not being connected to you, you're disconnected from it and it's depleted. It has no charge. It doesn't matter how big of a heart you have, all of the gifts and talents that you have, that you're not going to be able to express them. So, and when I say successful, don't mistake him by, only having lots of money in the bank, in the house, in the car. I'm not talking about that kind of success, although I'm not excluding it. If that's what you want, if that's what you desire, don't apologize for it. I'm talking about the success that is also a fulfilling life. So people that feel contentment and fulfillment and peace are people that have habits, rituals that are congruent with that lifestyle. And so my suggestion to all of us, let's aim to have a charge heart. Oh, like the same way you charge your phone. Every day charging your heart so that you can be more resilient, that you can grow in your spiritual awareness, that you can be the container for all of that abundance, for that significant other that you want to manifest in your life, for all that money that you want, for that new job that you want, for you to express your gifts and talents that you don't know maybe yet what that means, but so that you can be the container of all those creative ideas, creative solutions to all that you're seeking in this life. All right, let's take a deep breath in and let go. So I want you to please answer the following questions. What do you do before going to bed? And this is just for awareness purposes. Go back to last night. What did you do before going to bed last night and the last 3 nights? What's that pattern? Do you watch TV? The last thing you see is Facebook or Instagram? Do you look at your bank account and you get scared about the numbers in your bank account? Another question, what do you do right when you wake up? Do you go straight to your phone, to your email? What do you do right when you wake up? What are those first thoughts that you entertain? Do you say thank you, thank you, thank you? Or do you say, oh my God, another day, really? Are you moving your body daily? 2 weeks ago, we talked about the power of movement. Are you moving your body? Are you stretching? Are you sweating? I am here to show you my favorite rituals. So again, take what works for you. This is what has been working for me in a wonderful way. And I put the first two with a little star there because this is not something that I do in the morning. I know that my day is going to be more successful if I start the day before. Number one, I love to prepare the following day. This has made me a lot more effective, efficient, and has helped me to prioritize. So before I go to bed, I take a piece of paper. Sometimes I do it on my phone, and I said, okay, what are the things that I have to do? So I kind of do it like a brain dump, like I just put everything down, and then I look for priorities. What are this of all of these things are going to give me the greatest return? What is the most important things? Because we tend to confuse busyness with effectiveness and efficiency, and it's not the same. We can be busy all day long doing things that don't really matter. So after I look at my list, I said, what are my top 3 priorities for tomorrow? Things that I know are going to be moving me forward in life. So I like to do that. Sometimes I don't do it in the evening because we're not, robots. There's sometimes that we, like for example, I've been traveling for the last 3 weeks. My ritual has changed. So I do it in different ways when I'm out of my daily routine. But I try to do it the best I can. Okay, so some days this is going to be in the evening, and some days it's going to be in the morning. Some days it's going to be midday. But for me, ideally, is the day before. Number 2, go to bed early. I know if I want to wake up early, I need to go to bed early. And so I know it sounds common sense, but common sense is the least common of the senses. So I always count, how can I get 7-8 hours of sleep? I have an iPhone, and it has in the part where you put the alarm, it has a part that says time to go to bed. And then it gives me an idea how many hours, if I go to bed right now, how many hours I'm going to get at the time that I want to wake up. So I like to wake up really early, and there's been a lot of research on people that wake up early, how that is also correlated to success. So I like to wake up early. So these are my favorite rituals. Again, do it your way. I know there's some people that prefer to be, night owls, and they perform better at night. It's up to you. So wake up early, that's the other one. I've been learning to make the bed right after I come out of bed. Now I know some of you, are married and can do this because your spouse likes to stay in bed. So what I would suggest to you is do something that gives you that sense of, I completed a little task. What making the bed has been giving me is that sensation of like, okay, I did something right, for the lack of a better word, and I am ready to begin. It just gives my brain that serotonin boost that, oh, I did something good. Okay, you can get this from getting lots of notifications in Facebook. It's just that creates addiction. So making the bed is something a little bit more healthy or healthier. So that's what I like to do. I like to drink water. We are 70% to 90% water, and drinking water is going to give you a lot of energy. It's also going to aid you with your digestion. So I like to drink water. Water also has a really high vibration, so it can help you raise your frequency. So I like to drink water, and then I go straight to my couch and meditate. Some days I'll have a guided meditation. Some days I'll do some heart breathing technique. Some days I'll just stay in pure silence and connect to the present moment. It's different every day. Again, I'm not a machine that does the same thing over and over again. I know what helps me, and I tweak it too, depending on how I'm feeling that day. But I try to make it in a ritual way, so that I tell my brain, this is what feels good. This is what I want for our life. And So the meditation, I tweak it, but I try to connect as much as I can every morning with my heart. Some days it's going to be an hour. Some days it's going to be 5 minutes if I have to run out of the house quickly because I have something to do very early in the morning. So again, it's all about progress, not perfection. Okay, then I like to journal. I usually write a list of gratitude. What's my intention for that day? What do I want to offer to that day? And acknowledgments. What do I acknowledge myself for? I will start with acknowledge myself because I went to bed early last night and my day, or it's already planned. I'm not at the mercy of the circumstance. I acknowledge myself because I don't know. I've been choosing to eat clean food. Whatever it is, acknowledge yourself for all the things that you've done right. Some people prefer to do this before going to bed. I do it in the morning. I usually exercise in the morning. I move. I either go surfing or work out or at least move, stretch. Then I get ready for work while listening to something empowering. So I try that all of those first messages that I get in the morning are positive. So before I go into my email and to social media, I make sure that my brain has been stimulated in positive ways by the time I am ready to go to work, by the time I'm ready to see my email or social media, that I have fed my soul as well. And this is what has worked amazingly for me. So, what could work for you? Start very simple. I cannot stress this more. Simplicity is so important when you are beginning this journey. Start very simple. What can you do for you every night and every morning? And then do it repeatedly until that is second nature. And then you're ready to bring another habit and another habit and another habit. I made a list of all the things that I do, but at first I remember about 10 years ago, it just seemed so overwhelming. I have to do all of that? Really? I don't have time for that because my brain wasn't wired to do that. But I've been doing it for a long time that now I can combine things. But if you're just beginning, start very simple. If you're not just beginning, then add a couple of things that that are going to make a difference in your day. Okay, I know sounds very simplistic, but this could change everything. Okay, remember what Aristotle said: excellence is not an act but a habit. Okay, number 2, let's remember boundaries. I know people that tend to seek for personal development and spiritual development are usually people that are starting to open their psychic abilities, or they're already very open in their way that they perceive the world. That's why you're seeking ways. So if you tend to be taken by others' energies, very important boundaries. Last week I talked about this, but I want to expand on it. So before we talk about boundaries, very important things to bring into our awareness. We cannot and we will not change or save anybody. That's an impossibility. What we can do for one another is to inspire them, and if they're ready, they will get inspired them, is to give them directions or guide them. But if they don't want to change, they won't change. So our role in other people's life is just to be the lighthouse. But remember that we won't change them, we won't save them, because they need to row their own boat. So let's respect them enough to let them do it. It's an act of honor and respect to another to let them do their thing, even if in your judgment that thing is being self-destructive. And this is one of the things that have really saved me a lot of headaches and suffering in my own life. I am an auntie and I'm a sister, I'm a daughter, I'm a coach, I'm a teacher. And if I go into a coaching session, if I go in with a friend that is suffering in the moment with the idea that, okay, I'm going to change them or I'm going to save them with whatever I'm going to tell them or show them, if I go with that attitude, I would say at least 95% of the time I will probably end up very tired, because if the other one doesn't want to, or maybe they want it, but if they're not ready, or maybe it's not the moment to get the information that you're sharing, then it's not going to happen. Just know that every act of kindness is planting seeds in people that are just going to bring the fruit whenever it's time to do it. But again, we can't change or save anybody. They're rowing their own boat. Let's respect them enough to let them do it. So this is one of the first things I know that helped me so much in my in setting up boundaries. When I sit down with a client or when I'm dealing with a friend, I know that I'm there to hold space. That's the most important thing. I would say my suggestions, I would share my ideas, and then I let it be. And then I trust. Okay, let's take a deep breath and let go. Beautiful. So I'm bringing 3 methods that I took from this book that I'm reading. It's called Pure Spirit, an Owner Manual for the Soul by Avril Norman. These are techniques for energetic boundaries. So I'm going to read it. You can go back to this slide and read it yourself a couple times if you need a little bit more time to understand it, but I think it's very easy to understand. This method is great for people who you find draining or those people who you aren't fond of being around. Start off breathing. Just breathe in deeply, slowly, and get a rhythm going. Do not stress your breath, but just take a natural deep breath right down to your heart area. Once you have the breath rhythm going, begin to imagine a glowing golden sun about 1 meter above your head. See it in your imagination glowing in there right above you. Let the sun represent your beautiful higher self, whose energy can never run out. Imagine breathing in to draw the light of the sun down into your heart area. And then as you breathe out, imagine it flowing down your arms and to the person you're with. As you breathe in, it is recharging you. As you breathe out, the excess is going to the person in front of you. So it looks something like this. So you're in front of that person and you are finding that that person is very intense. So you're going to imagine a sun around about 1 meter above your head, and that sun is giving you the energy. So this sun is representing your higher self. So you're breathing in, getting the light down into your heart, and as you breathe out, you're sending this light into the other person's heart. So breathe in the light above your head, put it in your heart, and as you exhale, you send it to the person in front of you. So this is method number 2. This method works well for good friends, lover, family, whom you like and have respect for. As you're talking to the person who needs energy, listen to what they're saying, but also think in your mind all of the reasons why you love and care for them. Why you may feel that they're a magnificent person. Feel the love welling up in your heart. Imagine the sun above you as in method 1. Add the love in your heart and in your mind. Ask your higher self to send the friendly universe love through you to help them. Sometimes you'll feel goosebumps or extra energy in your body when you do this. This is normal and should not worry you. Breathe it to them. Very quickly, both you and your friend will feel wonderful. And it looks like this. So you're breathing from that sun that is representing your higher self. Breathe it in, and as you're doing this, you're also thinking about all of the beautiful traits that your friend or your lover or your family member has. All the things that makes them so magnificent. And as you're doing both things, you're sending them friendly universal love, unconditional love, and you'll see how the energy changes. It's pretty amazing. Method 3. Method 3 is for those whom you are not particularly fond, feel threatened by, or for whatever reason cannot feel love or respect for. When you cannot use method 1 or 2 as you feel very threatened or drained by the other person's energy, ask your higher self to step in between you and the person to separate your energy. You will find her or him either leave your physical presence or you not longer notice your energy draining for you. Your higher self will act as the buffer and barrier to the energetic transfer between the two of you. So it looks something like this. You ask your higher self to be in between you and the other person, to act like a buffer, as a barrier. All right. So these are the 3 methods. I think it's super fun and super interesting. It's almost like a little experiment that you can do. Try them all and let me know on our next call how it goes. I think it's a really good. They're really good explanations, and it could really help all of us to create those energetic boundaries, mostly if you are an empath, someone that feels a lot. So let's carry on. Tool number 3, always remember that there are no mistakes, only evolution, healing, and growth. So as I said, I'm going to give you a different perspective about mistakes. So the first thing that we need to know is that we think that life is like a ladder. We think life is linear. It's all about past, present, and future, or it's all about climbing up the ladder, going up in steps. So if you start right here when there's the 1 star, and then you do some advancement, and then you go to have 2 stars because you have advanced, but maybe you make a mistake and then you think you go backwards to 1 star, and then you get all shame about it, and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that again. I knew better. I shouldn't have done it. And then you do all of your work, and then you go up to where the 3 stars are, and you're like, oh my God, I'm in the top of the world. But then next week something happens, and then you go back to star number 1, and then you go back to guilt and shame. And we're just playing this game in our mind that we are either going up or going down. We're going forward or we're going backwards. But there's not such a thing as going up and down, or forward or backward. Because in the universe, there's no time and space. And I know this is a very big concept just to throw out just like that. I'm not going to get into it. But what I want to put out there is that the concept of time and space is a very dimensional concept. So that's why we say, okay, I can't believe I just did that. Oh, I feel like I'm going backwards like a crab. But it's an impossibility in the universe, because the universe is not linear. The universe is expansive. Instead of like a ladder, imagine a spiral. So we're going to switch the perspective, and instead of having the ladder vertical, we're going to put it horizontal. And then we're going to put on top of it the spiral. So let's say that little star in the center is you having a situation with your parents when you were a kid, and so you felt abandoned by them. And then you grow to be older, and then you say, you know what, I'm not going to deal with this anymore. I'm going to be independent. But then by the time you are 19 years old, you have your first love, and then this first love abandons you, and then you feel abandoned again. And all of these things that your parents did when you were little come back to mind, and then you just feel so victimized by life. You can't believe, you can't open your heart. But if you see in the spiral, you're not where you started. You're not 7 years old anymore. You kept advancing. It's just that you're finding yourself in a very similar situation. This time is not your parents. This time is, someone that you loved and they left. And then you say, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to grow. I'm going to heal. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to be independent. And then you find yourself at 27 years old having a very similar situation. This time is at work. You've been given your, everything to your job, and you've studied, and then now they say, you know what, thank you so much, we don't need you anymore. And you feel totally rejected, totally abandoned. You say, oh my God, I can't believe I'm feeling like a 5-year-old. I thought I already overcome all these things. But if you see in the spiral, you're not where you began. You kept advancing in your life, because life is never going backwards. You're always moving forward. It's just that you may find the same lessons because they want to meet you in a different level of your own consciousness. I'm hoping I'm making sense. And then you go and you grow, and then all of a sudden you are 35 years old. and you feel strong and you feel powerful, but boom, again, this time you're having a family situation that is very, very hard, very difficult, and is removing all of these feelings of abandonment. You feel like you're going backwards. Oh my God, I can't believe I feel like I'm an adult, but look at me, I'm dealing with this again. But if you see, you're not where you were before. You kept advancing. You're just meeting the same lesson from a different level of your own consciousness. You have grown. It's just that you're meeting that same lesson from that new space. That's why sometimes even these teachings, sometimes I would listen to my teacher, Reverend Michael Beckwith, and I haven't listened to him or him live, for example, when he goes to the retreat center that I go, and I just sit down and listen to him live. And I say, wow, it's been 6 months since I last saw him live. And I'm catching, it's the same message, but I'm catching it from such a different perspective. I feel like this concept just landed. Why? Because I am listening to the same thing from a different level of my unconsciousness. I kept advancing, and now it's landing in a different way because I'm in a different moment. You see? And then let's say now you're 50 years old and you're like, oh my God, it's happening again. But now this time you see you're more, you're more wise. You're wiser, you're calmer. And then you start feeling a sense of like, wow, life just keeps bringing the same lesson, but now I just feel stronger. There's no such a thing as going backwards. And then when you're 62 again, and you're like, wow, that's interesting. And then you start seeing how it all has made sense until one day there's no reason to have that lesson anymore. And I just put it in periods of decades. This could be a week in your life, this could be a month in your life, this could be a pattern a habit or an addiction that you have. Even if you keep falling down or falling off the wagon, thinking that you're falling down, thinking that you're going backwards, just know that there's an impossibility to go backwards. There's an impossibility to make a mistake because you're always moving forward. It's just that if you haven't learned the lesson, you're just going to meet the lesson from a different perspective until you learn the lesson. And again, I just gave you example of a lifetime, but this could be a habit. This could be you forming a habit. So let's go backwards. You start, from now on I'm going to have a morning routine, and you do it for a week. But then in a week from now you forget to do it one day, and then another week goes by without you doing anything, and then you sit down and you say, oh my God, I can't believe I'm I'm where I began. I feel so ashamed. But then if you remember, you know what? You're falling off the wagon from a different point of your own evolution. And then you start again and you do it well for a while until, and 2 months from now, you feel like you've created the habit, but you're going through a family situation, so you kind of stop doing your routine. And then you reflect and you go within and you say, you know what, I'm going to begin again. And you begin and you do it right for a long time, and then a year from now you say, you know what, I feel so strong. But you get sick, and you stop doing it for a week or two or a month, and then you find yourself and you say, you know what, last time I did it well, I'm going to do it really well right now. And then you do it, and then boom, something else happens. And then you fall off the wagon, you forget about your routine. But this time you feel so strong, you're like, no big deal. I can start right now. I don't even have to wait for Monday. I don't even have to wait for next week. I can start right now and begin again. And then something else happens. Someone needs your help and you're helping them for a while, or you're in a project and you forget about your rituals. And you said, no big deal. I can start right now. And then before you know it, you don't have to, there's not even a follow off the wagon concept, because it's part of you. You just do it. And then there's no shame. There's no guilt. I'm hoping this is landing. When I learned this, it really freed me. I just felt a sense of freedom. Like, I'm never going backwards. I'm not making a mistake. Even if I just sabotage myself, I know I can begin again a lot stronger, because you're never making a mistake. You're just learning. You're not failing. You're just learning. Let's take a deep breath. And let go. Beautiful. Tool number 4, let's remind ourselves every day that time is gold and we must use it wisely. I have this quote from Seneca. You act like mortals in all that you fear and like immortals in all that you desire. So what does this mean? We tend to procrastinate. We tend to say, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. Almost as if we had all the time in the world. But here's the thing, having mortality awareness, meaning the fact that you and I one day are going to transition back to eternity, is one of the best awarenesses we can have. I know talking about death, mostly in the Western culture, is not a topic. We don't talk about it. But it's important to bring into our awareness. And Buddha said the trouble is you think you have time. Here's the thing, I hope we have a lot more years on this planet, but we don't know. And you probably had the experience, I definitely had the experience in my life where I have a friend or a family member that they're all good. And then all of a sudden you hear the phone call and the call says, you know what, something terrible happened. Your aunt or your friend had an accident or they, were diagnosed with cancer and a week later, 2 months later, boom, gone. Back to eternity. And death is, it's a big topic to talk about, and I'm not going to get into it too deep, but I'm trusting you're getting the feeling of it. This is what we have, and this is a gift, which is the present moment. And if we don't know how to utilize it wisely, God forbid we go into a moment in our lives when it's our last moment and we look back and say, oh, I should have done this. I should have utilized it better. I should have chosen my battles better. Because we waste so much time in the littleness that survival brings to our awareness. Drama, gossiping, worrying about all those things that are probably not going to happen. There was another man, I think his name was Roosevelt, he said, in my life, I had a lot of trouble, which most of them never happened. And so we tend to waste a lot of time worrying about our bodies, worrying about what the other think about me, worrying about, I'm not trying, I need to grasp it or cling on this so I don't lose it. And we do this because we do it as a survival way. But as we've been talking for the last 4 weeks, we want to get out of that survival and take this present moment and make the best that we can in this moment. Because here's the thing, we might not have much time left. Hopefully we do. But on this plane, on this third dimension, every second is a gift. This heart is beating because it loves us so much and because it's saying there's still purpose to fulfill. But if at some moment the purpose is done, we need to go back to eternity, then hopefully your soul will be okay. I came here and I did what I needed to do. But in order to do that, we need to know that time is gold. I know that in the universe, I already said there's no time and space, but in this plane, in this third dimension, there is time. And so let's utilize it wisely. How, Paula? How? Can you tell me how? Of course. Number 1, release resistance. When you resist, persist. How do you release resistance? Accept what is. Do not fight reality. Stop fighting against the current. When you fight or when you resist or when you don't accept what is, you're only going to lose 100% of the time. What is. And when you look at what is, don't make it worse. Don't make it little. Don't make it bigger. Just make it for what is. And you look at that in the eye and you say, I surrender to it, accepting what is. One of the biggest suffering that happens among all human beings is resisting or not accepting what is. Now, what is sometimes comes tainted with stories. So release the story. Just look at what is in the moment. Let's say it's raining. I look at the rain and I say, okay, it's raining. I had the desire that today was going to be sunny, but it's raining. I'm going to enjoy and surrender to the rain. Look at what's good about the rain. Because stress is when the pictures that you hold in your mind are not the same as the pictures that you're looking in your reality. When they're not in congruency and you fight it, then you get very stressed out. So accepting what is. Again, no stories about the past or about the future. It's just what is in the moment. Not shrinking it, not popping it off, not making it bigger. Just what is. Number 2, take a nap. One of my favorite teachers, her name is Esther Hicks. She channels Abraham. And she says to release resistance, sometimes just taking a nap. I know it sounds super simplistic, but releasing when you're sleeping or when you're napping, you're releasing all of that resistance. Another way, stop talking about what's not working and start talking about what's working. Sometimes we think talking about the problem is going to resolve the problem. But talking about what's not working is just going to make it bigger in your own mind. We're going to make a storm out of a teacup. So start talking about what's working or what could be a solution. But stop talking about what's not working. That's create more resistance. Take a deep breath and know that the universe is not contradicting itself. What is working for you. Even though it might seem chaotic in this moment. When everything is out of control, see it as the universe putting the pieces into place. It's just that you don't understand it right now. Everything is happening for us and nothing is happening against us. These are all suggestions to release resistance. If you have different ones, please apply them. Okay? Another way is know that the only thing that you can control are your thoughts and your action. Stop trying to control anybody else or the circumstances around you. You can only control your thoughts, your focus, and what you do about it. Okay? I know, again, sounds simplistic, but this is the only thing you have control over. Your thoughts and your action. Trust the process. This is a journey. And so knowing that we just have to put one foot in front of the other, you will see that in time you'll see the progress. But we must trust the process. And all of these tools, all of these little suggestions I'm giving you, they connect you to the present moment and they make you use time wisely. Because the Buddha said the problem is that we think that we have time. So whatever it is that we have left, we don't know. It's a mystery. Let's use it wisely, and trusting the process can give us that peace of mind. Okay? Forgive. This is a big one. Forgiveness. When you're not forgiving, you're resenting. And when you're resenting, you're drinking poison and waiting for the other one to die. One of the biggest liberators is forgiveness. And Reverend Michael Beckwith says, forgiveness is the conscious, intentional letting go of animosity, resentment, hate, blame, rancor, or indifference to another or oneself. This is very important. All forgiveness is, in actuality, self-forgiveness, because we're cleansing our own inner and outer household. So all forgiveness in actuality is self-forgiveness because we're cleansing our inner and outer household. You don't forgive them because they deserve it. You forgive them because you deserve to be free. A thinker said once, by forgiving, I have liberated a prisoner, and then by the end of it, I realized that the prisoner was me. So if you want to be truly free and be in that space of authenticity, in that high frequency that authenticity and truth gives you, we must forgive. And he says, Reverend Michael Beckwith, in the book, The Answer Is You. This is in page 79 in case you have the book. If not, I highly recommend you get it. Forgiveness also frees us from self-abuse. What do I mean by this? When we harbor anger towards another individual, an invisible signal is transmitting that draws into our magnetic field another person or circumstance that replays the same behaviors that triggered the original anger. Holding on to the anger continues a cycle of venting our anger, which is a form of self-abuse. It is vital to our well-being to release anger and make forgiveness a way of life. So forgiveness frees us from self-abuse. Remember, self-love and self-respect is the base of everything. It's the root where your tree, where all the fruits are going to come. All of those desires are going to come from that, from the base of respecting and loving and caring for ourselves. So forgiveness is very, very powerful for our own evolution unfolding in this lifetime. I'm hoping you're with me still. So let's take a deep breath and let go. Beautiful. So I have 3 statements that I took from The Answer Is You. So I would love for you to rewrite it. So the first one is when you want to forgive someone that has done something to you or to the people around you. So you can tweak it, change it for whatever works for you. And also what I like to do with these things, I'm very auditorial. So I like to first write it down and then I record it and then I bring it into my meditation and I listen to myself forgiving. Or you can read it out loud. Again, it takes about 66 days. So I would say do it for 3 weeks, do it for 2 months, however long you need until you feel that you have forgiven. So this is the first statement that you can bring to your meditation. I forgive you, the name of the person. In this case, the example says Jordan, for all the ways in which you have hurt me and our family over the years through your addiction. I sent you thoughts of empowerment and I declare the truth that within you is all that you need. Reveal your wholeness. I see the highest and the best in you and I trust that which seeks to emerge in, through, and as your life. As I now replace my thoughts and feelings of negativity towards you with an energy of love and forgiveness. I know your spirit receives and responds to the love and energy of this prayer from my heart. So again, tweak it for what could work for you. Then another statement is a little shorter. If you're going through a situation with someone that is very draining for you, so while you're going through it, you would say, you have no power over me, situation. And you can say, nothing you have said or done determines my happiness or success. I set myself free from any and all effects of your energy upon my life. I set you free with this act of forgiveness. I am free and you are free. That's a powerful one. You can bring it to your meditation. Then another one is if you need to ask for forgiveness. As I sit in the energy of our relationship, I ask your forgiveness for any hurt or harm I have knowingly or unknowingly caused you. A healing of the heart and spirit has now begun between us in the depth of our true nature as love, compassion, and forgiveness. You are free and I am free. All is well between us. Guys, I guarantee you do this. I guarantee you because I've seen it work in my life. You do this with conviction, you say with your heart, and you will start seeing the energy moving. Maybe the other person is not going to catch it right away, but your spirit will, and you'll feel more free. Okay? Beautiful. Keep an open heart. How? Through gratitude and flexibility. Gratitude. If you bring gratitude into your life, there's no such a thing as being grateful and miserable at the same time. Try to be grateful and miserable at the same time, or try to be grateful and complain at the same time. It's an impossibility. So as you want to live a life with an open heart, know that gratitude, it's one of the best tools you can do. Another one is flexibility, being soft, softening your heart, softening your shoulders, softening your jaw, opening your chest, physically go into that space of being open-hearted. It is very dangerous to live with a closed heart. You waste a lot of time, you lose a lot of moments when you're pretending that you can protect your heart, because at the end of the day, that's one of the most harming things we can do to our hearts, to close it. So keep an open heart. No matter how hard things are, if you keep an open heart through gratitude and flexibility, and gratitude even in the midst of challenge, saying, okay, I'm grateful because I know I'm going through spiritual boot camp, because I know this is making me grow. I don't understand it now, but I am grateful for this lesson. Okay, knowing that you're in that spiral, growing, always expanding, always evolving. And flexibility, kindness of heart, kindness of words, of thoughts, practicing that softness, that kindness and flexibility gives you. All right, let's take a deep breath and let go. Beautiful. Write down your desires. People that write down what they want tend to attain it a lot more than people that don't. So let's go back to the wheel of life, and in each area, ask yourself, what do I want? What do I really desire in this area of my life? I'm going to ask you in the call, what are your answers? So I hope that you do this exercise. And it's also super fun. I do it like every 2 or 3 months. I do it for New Year's. I do it for my birthday. I'm constantly doing wheels of life. And sometimes if I don't look at that at my writing for a long time, and when I go back, I see it, I'm like, oh my God, I did this and I'm doing that now, and it's pretty self-assuring when you do this. So write your desires. Find your tribe. You are the average of the 5 people that hang out with you. I know sometimes this is hard when you are usually hanging out with people that tend to talk about problems or gossips or drama. But set the intention when you're in your meditation and your heart is open. Say, universe, I am ready to find my tribe. Those friends that that will bring light into my life, that I can exchange love with them, that we can have high frequency conversations, that we can talk about what makes our heart sing, that we can talk about where we're creating instead of talking about the neighbor, instead of criticizing and judging and separating. I am willing. I did this one time when I was living in another area of Costa Rica. I felt pretty lonely, and most of the people around me, I love them, but I felt like I could expand my tribe. And I sat down and I said, universe, I'm ready. I'm ready to find my tribe. And very quickly I was moved to another city in Costa Rica, and I can tell you now that I have really found my tribe. And also some of these people of my tribe, the people that bring me up, are family members. For example, my mom is one of them. She brings so much joy and light into my life. My best friend, I didn't have to change her for anybody else. She was pretty amazing. So there's people in your life that are vibing like you. So cultivate them, nourish those relationships, and if you set the intention to find more of your community, know that you will. Be of service. This is when you have stabilized your life, then naturally you will want to give. And even though you might not see it at first, there's a slinky effect. So this is a slinky toy, and the slinky effect means that when you advance, then the people around you tend to follow, kind of just like that toy. So know that when you go first, when you're healing first, when you're transforming your life first, you will create a ripple effect in the people around you. And that is the best way of being of service. By you having the best quality of life that you can, you're serving the world. Also, you will naturally, we would like to be more of a holding space of others, being the lighthouse for others. But know too that your lifestyle, your way of being, your beingness is the best way you can serve the world, to serve the world. You have no idea the amount of influence we have to the people around us. So being of service is one of the most beautiful things that I have integrated in my life. Also, there's a yogi that said, when you are feeling helpless, help someone and see what happens. I know that for me, taking time for self is important, but when I'm still too caught up in my own drama, if I go and serve someone, if I am kind to someone, if I, make a video sometimes for Facebook or for social media, if I feel like I've been of service, there's something within me that raises my energy, and it's really beautiful. Giving value to the world inevitably brings value back to you. Is the circulation of love. Okay, so if you want to receive a lot, give a lot. Okay, beautiful. Let's take a deep breath and let go. Practice congruency. Someone asked Gandhi's wife what made him so powerful, and she said he was a very normal man, but what made him so powerful was that what he thought, what he said, and what he did was all in alignment, all in congruency. The more congruent and authentic you are, the more you can be of service of others, the more magnetic you'll be to all of your desires, and the more you'll be the container of all that abundance that you want. Abundance of love, abundance of health, abundance of money, abundance of ideas. But we must be congruent. The best way to manifest is by congruency, authenticity. And that also means laughing more, loving more, feeling more, being super open-heartedly. Do you feel that? I can feel it right now. So let's take a deep breath in and let go. And tool number 5, be here now, present moment awareness. I've been mentioning it throughout this class, but this is the only time that you have, right now, right here. The heart is beating. When you connect to your heartbeat, you connect to the present moment, you can see that all of your needs are met. You're breathing, your lungs are extracting oxygen, your cells are doing what they need to do, trillions of cells. You are a miracle. The fact that you and I right now are here, it is a miracle. And when you connect to the miracle of you and being in the present moment, and I put a picture of a little dog with that girl, because dogs, they are vibing in such a high frequency that they connect you to the present moment. When we are there, the journey is so pleasurable that yes, you want the outcome, but being here right now is also great. If you get it, amazing. And if you don't, well, the process was so much fun. So it's not the outcome, but how you go through the journey. There's no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. So we come to the end of week 4. And here are some calls to action for our next call, which is our last call. I would love you to create a daily routine that works for you. And also do this along with writing your desires in the wheel of life. It will help you determine, in order to get my desires, what kind of habits do I need to have, okay? Number 2, I want you to practice the methods of energetic boundaries, at least one this week before we talk, okay? Do the forgiveness process with someone you need to forgive. This could be with yourself. So again, take the statements that I put in the slides and see which one applies to you in this moment. Tweak it to you. And then if you want, you can go an extra step to record it in your phone and then listen to it, or you can read it out loud for the days ahead of us before we do the call and see how it goes. And do not miss our last call this coming Thursday at 8 p.m. I am looking forward to talk to you and see how these 4 weeks have been for you, how this last week impacted you, what insights you have, what questions, what doubts, and all of those good things. So thank you very much. Our next call is Thursday, July 5th, 8 p.m. Mountain Time. I love you. I have been having so much fun. It's been such an honor to share all of these teachings with you. Thank you. And until next course, until next bootcamp, who knows what I'm creating next. I love you. Goodbye.